Behind the Ramble is proudly sponsored by Glasby Pallets. They're offering a one-stop solution for all of your pallet needs. Get in touch on 01709 585 646 to discuss your pallet requirements. Thank you to Sonny and the team at Glasby Pallets for all their support of Behind the Ramble.
Coops here. Subscribe to Blades Ramble. Keep following, and all the best.
The Poohousery.
The Poohousery. Don't worry, I'm working on these intros, and I will get round to this one as well. It took me all day to do one or two of them other day. But what is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy. Well, it's behind the Ramble into this, but welcome back. This is our Patreon exclusive live stream. It will be available for people to watch on Behind the Ramble on Saturday. I think we're going to try a new time of 10 o'clock. Only thinking behind that is when the season starts and there's games on, obviously it'll get lost in shuffle. I'll be doing a 90 after 90, or there might be a late match or something like that, and we don't want to be releasing content on both channels at the same time, do we? So we'll try and why does my mic not sound right? Hang on. Thank you to probably in.
There we go. I was just about to say how much smoother and easier StreamYard is, but obviously I've just lost the plot altogether, haven't I? So yeah, absolutely frying my brain with all this new tech and what have you. So I think it should be all right now, lads. Anybody that's messaging me and saying it doesn't sound great, but it should be better. We'll have to wait and see. It'll come out in wash. But we're here today to talk about, this is hot topic, so it's anything that you want to talk about. We can be steered by the panel. We can be steered by your comments. The topic I was leading with tonight is, are we missing out? Because I did a 10-minute transfer day before yesterday. Just cards on the table, really, like I always try and be, in terms of, I think I'm starting to get a little bit twitchy. And at that time, it looked like we were going to lose out on David Brooks and we were going to lose out on Kessler Hayden, which we have done since. And then we were going to miss out on Louis Barry. Well, since that video was made, David Brooks' deal has fallen through. Might now be going to Rangers, from what somebody's posted in Platinum Chat. We'll have to wait and see. And then Louis Barry, strong links to Sheffield United. So when I was titling this, even earlier today or yesterday, whenever it was, there was still a concern that we might be missing out on some of these targets. And that could be superseded by other targets that we'll be going for. There'll be a view from the mountain on it tomorrow, as we all know, at 7:30. So he will have his say in terms of, well, we might not be targeting these players because we're going for higher. It's not just the low-bearing fruit of the Championship that Sheffield United are after. It is higher ambitions in terms of targets. So to discuss it with me today, I should have 6. I should have a total of 6 people. So 5 guests. At the minute, I've got 4. So hope Susan's okay. Marc Meldrew has messaged me to say he's going to be slightly late. But Susan, if you're struggling, just let me know and I can send you the link again and everything that we need. So welcoming on first. Who should we go first? Oh, Marco's here. That's okay. Well, in fact, we'll bring Marco on first, actually, because as the experienced member of the panel, he can hopefully make people feel a little bit more assured. Marc Meldrew, how's it going, pal?
Evening, pal. Just getting myself set up. How are you?
Looks well, mate. Looks well. Yes, I'm good, mate. Thank you. I'm good. What do you know?
I tell you, caught me a bit off guard. I've just had my tea and sorting young and that.
What you have for your tea? Pal?
I've had a chicken parmo.
All right, nice.
Not had one before. Lovely.
Yeah. Oh, I've had one a long time ago, but not for a long time. Right. Let's add to the panel then. He's been on one hot topic, I believe, before, but you will have seen him on our Wembley Ramble on the Road. It is He's the stat man. Skibbity-bitting, yo, do. It's Statman Jack. How's it going, pal?
How are
The
mate?
man with no hands when you do that. The man with no hands. What? Whoa.
I'm holding up Bramall Lane, mate.
Nice. How the devil are you, mate, with your green screen?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. I've literally just got in from work, so sorry that wasn't a little bit earlier.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. Long day at work.
12 hours, yeah. Always a long day for me, mate.
Mate, that is incredible. Well done, pal. Well done. Next up, another man who you will have seen make his Blades Ramble debut on our Wembley edition of Ramble on the Road. None other than Big T. Big Tony, how's it going, pal?
Now then, how's it going?
All right, thank you, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Excited.
Good. Excited for the season? Excited for the show? What are you excited for, pal?
Excited for the season.
Right, okay. Not the show.
It's all new, isn't it? It's all new.
It is, mate. As are the new faces.
For the last 100 odd years, it's been the same old, ups, downs. This is all new. If it's a down, at least we've tried it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We certainly have, mate. So, and speaking of new, it's nice to see some new faces on the panel, and thank you to everybody. 'Cause this has now become a bit of a, since we've limited the numbers on how many we can get on stream, it's been quite a popular thing, and people are now, oh, can I be at first reserve? Can I come on? But we are all sort of very patient in letting others have their turn as well. So it's been great. And now making his Ramble debut, the Ledge, Dave Ledger. How's it going, pal?
I'm good, mate. Ramble debut.
Oh, no, Ramble debut. How does it feel, mate? No nerves. No nerves at all.
I'm all right. No, it's good. I've obviously watched it, watched all you guys, and yeah, I just thought it's time to jump on.
It is time to jump on. Do you know what? I'm asking where Susan is. I'm not sure I've sent her a link, but I'm going to send her a link anyway, and hopefully she can sort it out. I may have sent her it earlier in the day, but apologies if I haven't, Susan. That's on me. It's been a crazy day. And who wants to start us off with the goings-on at Bramall Lane? Because I have been saying, since Sayers was appointed, in fact, let's go even further back. I'm not going to talk about transfers just yet. Tony, you started us off there, and I think we can go back to you just for your sort of, just to elaborate on that a little bit. So, Wilder out, Sayers in. You've not had a chance to have your say on this on stream. In fact, I don't think any of you have. Even Mark, I don't know whether you've spoken about this on stream. Tell me if you have or you haven't. But I'm not sure that you have.
I think I've once. Yeah, once.
Okay. So, Tony, what are your thoughts, pal, on the change at Bramall Lane? What were your initial thoughts when it happened? What are your thoughts now under Ruben Sayers?
I think, for myself, it should have happened as soon as Wembley finished. As soon as that final whistle happened, if it was going to happen, it should have happened then. I weren't surprised.
Okay.
I mean, I think we can all agree that we came out to Bramall Lane week in, week out. We've won, but it could have been better. It weren't the greatest game, and we're getting routine all the time. We're going to make a substitution at 65 minutes. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I used to be able to say he'll be off and he'll be on. It was the same old all the time. And if I knew what we were going to do, sure, the opposition knew what they were going to do. We got 1-0 wins at the beginning of the season, but I think we are at that initial bulk at the beginning of the season. We want to finish where we're going to finish. I mean, my dad goes with me and he says we weren't the third best team. There were just 21 teams worse than us.
Yeah, it wasn't the fact that we were good. It was the fact that they were a lot worse. I understand what you're saying. I just want to say hello to Susan as well. Thank you for joining us. You have very, very briefly appeared on the Ramble before, haven't you? Very briefly, a fleeting appearance. But it's great for you to actually be on a hot topic after a long,
Hi,
long
everybody.
while. Hello. And welcome.
Thank you to David, by the way, for letting me take his spot.
I'd much prefer you to be on than David anyway, Susan, to be honest. So, I'm joking, David. You're all welcome here, as you know. So
I've had his pasty. He says, I've got to tell you that.
Fair enough. I will come to you, but I'm just going to ask Jack how he felt at the same time in terms of, I agree with Tony. And I'm a huge Wilder fan. I make no bones about that. But it did become a little bit predictable under Chris Wilder, and in terms of, it looked like there were planned substitutions a lot of the time. I was concerned about no real plan. I don't want to dwell too much on this Wilder and Sayers thing now, because I think a lot of it is, it's in the past, isn't it? And we will look forward. But just in terms of getting your opinion on not only the decision itself, Jack, but how you feel now about it. Because when it first happened, a lot of Blades were on the fence, probably is the best way to put it. Some thought it were disgusting. Some thought it were a positive move in the end. But how do you feel now about Ruben Sayers being our manager?
How do I feel now?
Yes.
Well,
how do you feel now?
I am actually all right about it, and there's a few reasons why. I think Sayers won't accept players in the wrong position for a start. So I think straight away we're not going to see Harmer where we saw Harmer last season. I don't think that's going to happen straight away. I think he's got the potential to unlock sides to players that we may have never seen before under Wilder. And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't Peruvians speak Spanish?
I'm going to say yeah. So I sound intelligent.
Caceres.
No idea, in all honesty.
He might get a bit of Sayers Caceres going on there, but obviously he's training with the first team now, and we might start seeing some of these. We might have got a secret weapon there that we don't even know about.
We could have, Jack, but
to be honest, I've seen him under 23s, and he was tearing them apart. It was different class.
Well, that's good. There's no doubt about it. That's good, and he has been signed for a reason. There's no doubt about it. But me personally, my expectations are on the floor for these development signings. So anything that they offer will be an absolute bonus in my book. And that's not me writing them off before they've even kicked a ball for us. I wouldn't do that. And when they're wearing the shirt, they will get my full support. But I am not thinking, oh, brilliant, let's hope we've got a new Illiman as Christian Nachukwu comes on the pitch or something like that. I think they're going to be young lads of high potential, hopefully, that can be sort of bled into the side as and when they're ready. So
you've got to remember the base of our team is already really good.
Yes.
So we're going to lose some players. Like obviously Sousa's likely to go. Who knows where Peck is? But Sayers is going to have his targets, and the Louis Barry link is obviously potentially quite strong there. But there will be other players that he knows he wants to look at and bring in that none of us will have even thought of, probably.
Well said, mate. Debut, Dave. Any thoughts on Ruben Sayers coming in as manager? It appears to be spelling the end for the players such as Rhian Brewster. He wasn't seen in any of the film today or yesterday that was shown. No talks of him signing a new deal, so it's unlikely that he comes back. How do you see us in the future going forward with Ruben Sayers in charge?
It's exciting, isn't it? Because it's an unknown. I think he's come across really well in his press conference, his chat to media, which is good because that's what Chris did. He came across really well, didn't he? And he's one of those. He talked like we would after a game, before a game, whatever. And I think some foreign managers can get lost in that, and might not say it as it is. And I think he sounded great. He's definitely got passion and fire. I'm looking forward to what he's going to bring in. And this is the thing, Kessler Hayden's been mentioned. Obviously, he's gone to Coventry now. He's a good player, but for me, he's not. Is he what we need? Sariki can bomb on. I think we need a solid right back. I think Kessler Hayden's maybe a bit more flashy, do you know what I mean? A bit more attacking minded. I think we need
like a Jimmy Dunn, for example.
No, I think. Do you know what? I think Jimmy Dunn were a proper Wilder signing. He's just a proper Wilder signing, and that's probably why he's not here anymore. And do you know what? On that, what Tony said at Wembley, over there, and it did. I mean, I think you were a little bit unlucky with Gus going injured. I think you brought him on to link up with Callum Ware. Everything went wrong, didn't it? Diaz going off injured and I'll get injured, but I just think we didn't perform very well in terms of do a lot of 1-0s where you think, how do we win away at Luton? Luton were horrible away. And
awful down there. Horrible game. That one and Derby away. Oh,
Derby away. And we kept winning these games. And I kept saying it's going to catch up eventually. You can't play that bad and keep winning. But I think tactically at Wembley, their manager got it bang on. Every sub he made, right times. He pushed us back when he needed to. You just got it bang on. I could see it coming.
We didn't have a plan B, did we? That was it. They sussed us out in first half. They knew what we were going to do. We didn't know what to do after that.
I thought we played really well, though. I thought we played really well. I just think it was just unfortunate. You know,
they came second half with their plan B and C.
Yeah,
we had no plan B. Once they sussed us out, we were done.
I think we crumbled under pressure as well. I think
Good old
that's what happened.
pass.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think we had nobody's talked about it, but I think Wilder did. You know, honestly, I think
crumbled.
Yeah, well, not crumbled, but I think everybody says, "Oh, the pressure got to players." I don't think so. You know, Chris away at Plymouth, the way we're going off. You look at some of them games. I think it got to him a little bit, and then obviously it's going to get through to your players eventually. But I've never seen him do that, and I think it really got to him a bit.
That were a big theory of Dave the Nose, not necessarily leading up to it, but looking back on it after the Wembley defeat, he was not convinced, but he had a real strong feeling that Wilder would leave because he thought that is going to crush him completely. And looking back at it, like you've said there, Dave, has he coped with it too well in the running? And who's going to pick him up off the floor now? Who is going to help him go again with this team? And you know, everything is sort of Wilder centric at our club at that stage. And if he's not right, then everybody else is going to struggle. Susan, I'm going to come to you now. And the first question I'm going to ask you is the most important question. How are you and Malc? How's Malc doing, first and foremost?
He's doing okay, thank you.
All right. Is he the cameraman?
Yeah. So, no, I've got it propped up on me, Tom Horton's coffee and a candle.
Susan, that reminds me of my kitchen days. Don't you worry about that. We've all been there. So
yeah, we're doing all right. Yeah,
good.
Thank you for asking.
Pleased to hear it. No problem at all, because you know the Ramblers all want to know about how you're doing. So good. I'm glad that's the right answer, and I'm glad that was the answer. Now, what are your thoughts on Ruben? Before we move on from this topic, I want to know how you feel about Ruben Sayers being our new manager.
Well, obviously, the proof of the puddings, you know, we've got to see him, haven't we? We've got to see him with the players. Yeah. I do think he'll finish the rebuild that Chris started, because I think by his own admission, that rebuild wasn't anywhere near finished. Yeah. And I think we did a lot of panic buying and panic loaning to get the team finished, as it were. But I don't think they were finished. I've said before, I don't think we were ready for promotion. And I do think that the wheels came off at the end. And I think Chris knew that. I think Chris was really up against it. These outbursts that he was having, it's a dead giveaway, isn't it, for you being a bit out of your depth? That's what I think. I mean, we did make some fabulous signings, and we weren't ready. And I don't think we're ready now, because we don't know how many players are going out. We don't know how much they're going to make, you know, and so we don't know what's in the purse.
Yeah, very true.
So I think all of that, really. I was disappointed that Chris went, because I do think he'd done enough to have another shot. But I think he was getting to the point where he was bereft of ideas, you know, coming towards the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very fair. Several very fair points, to be honest, and I don't disagree. It's a little bit like what Jack was saying. We have got a good foundation to build on as a squad to finish this rebuild, like you're saying, Susan. I know that Sayers will come in and finish the rebuild in his own way. He will see the squad differently to what Chris saw. But you look at players like...
though. Sorry, Jimmy, to interrupt you, but I tell you what, I bet he's excited to play. To manage our players, because we've got some cracking players, haven't we?
Oh, we have.
And if we get the system right, which I think he sounds as though he's the man to do it, I think he'll fly with our team and our club.
Why have you waited so long to come on, Susan? Why have you waited so long? You're absolutely brilliant. I completely agree.
People slate him, but he's never had this Arsenal at his disposal.
No, exactly. That's true.
Reading and Hull aren't at this level.
No, Southampton were, but he was in the Premier League on a hiding to nothing.
Scenario.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
It was pulling him back up by the bootstraps, wasn't he?
It was.
But we're done in a way, aren't we? Because we've got some super talented, confident players who need, you know, need a fresh look probably.
Well, you look at players like he's coming into a squad that's got Gus Hamer, that's got Michael Cooper in goal, Tyrese Campbell, who had the season of his life last season, Ollie Arblaster coming back into contention, Harrison Burrows got in the team of the season last year, and those players can all fit the majority of styles, whichever way he wants to go, really. So if he chooses to add wingers to this squad, or he chooses to go 2 up top or 3 at the back, whatever he chooses to do, he has got the blueprint there of a really good squad. And that's something that I think we sometimes, not in our chats and our streams really, but I think the fan base in general, so keen to get players in. I think keeping older players is something that's just as important. Marco, I'm going to come to you, pal, because obviously we've had a little chat previously about Sayers. So in terms of the signings, a little bit in line with sort of moving the conversation on, Louis Barry's been linked. What are your thoughts on young Louis Barry? Would he be an ideal first addition? Does the fact that he's a left winger give you confidence that Gus could then potentially move back inside to an 8 or a 10 where we're a lot more confident, or some of us are more comfortable with him being, even though he did a great job out there for us, a more natural winger, a more attack-minded speed merchant a little bit, did really well in League One, got injured when he came into the Championship. Louis Barry as a potential signing, does that excite you?
I think it's a bit of a gamble signing, to be honest. I mean, he had a bad injury at all. From what I gather, it was quite a bad one. I think he played 2 games, got injured, then he were out for a long time. Doing it in League One is a completely different kettle of fish to doing it in top end at Championship. Never mind the bottom end. He's coming into. He needs to be challenging. We need to be up there, especially this year. It'd be a bit of a gamble. I do like him. I think he would add something to our team, especially if we can get Gus more central, which I think that's where he's more effective. And when you look at a lot of games that he's scored in or he's done something in, it's been when he's been more central and he can be more effective in games. But I do like him. I think it's a bit of a gamble, but I do think we'll bring quite a few in where they might be of that sort of ilk, where they're not necessarily signings that jump off at page to us. I think there might be somewhere we think, oh, hang on a minute, why have we signed him? Or a bit like Campbell last year. I'll admit, when we signed him, I thought injury record shocking. But so were McGoldrick's, and McGoldrick turned out brilliant for United. So did Campbell.
I think that helped him as well, coming in with no expectation, didn't it? There were no pressure on his. You look at that, and I've used this example before, but you contrast that with Tom Cannon, who comes in with a £10 million weight round his neck, and you think there's a lot of pressure. He's under the spotlight, that kid, to kick off straight away and get scoring goals. Whereas Tyrese Campbell, for those that might not remember, came in overweight because he hadn't been training properly, because he hadn't had a club. He'd obviously had a lot of upset within the family. He'd been through a tragedy in the family. He'd lost his dad in the summer, I believe, or certainly close to that time when he was leaving Stoke. So he'd had a lot to overcome personally. It took him a little while to get fit and get sharp and get into the rhythm of scoring goals. And I think, like, when he got his chance, he took it and he ran with it. But there were no expectation on Tyrese Campbell. And if these players coming in, you know, on a lower fee, I always think that they do slightly benefit from that. Michael Cooper's been incredible, and he's lauded even more because it was such a low fee. If we'd have signed him for 20 million, it'd have been, well, we expect him to be class because he is a 20 million pound player. Well, now he might be, and we signed him for 2. So it's difficult, isn't it, for some of these players coming in with higher price tags.
The thing with Barry as well is, I think when Sayers were at Hull, he actually brought him in, and I think Barry had better teams than all after him, and he chose to sign for Hull, probably down to game time he were going to get. But yeah, I'd take him. I think it'd be a decent signing, but at the same time, I do think it'd be a gamble. But you could say that about every signing. Somebody that's really good could be terrible for us. So I
think the only gamble about it, and I'll take everybody else's opinion on this, really, is the injury that he's had. I don't think it's a gamble in terms of it's now his turn to level up. I think he were in League 2 with Stockport originally, did really well for him. went back to him in League One, did really well for him, and then obviously got recalled to go out to Hull, like you said, Mark, under Sayers, and got injured, unfortunately. But his next natural step is into the Championship, like at a better level, you'd like to think. So I'd be excited by the signing. We've no guarantee that it's going to be the same player he was before his injury. That's the only concern that you've got. But I think in terms of his playing trajectory, Dave, I don't know what your thoughts are, mate, on Louis Barry potentially coming in. Does he excite you at all?
Yeah, definitely. Is it, like you just said, he's a player on the up, and that's what we need. Would it be a perm? Would it? Is it?
I hope so. I hope so. There's talk of it being a loan, but that wouldn't make sense for Villa's PSR reasons for selling, really, unless it's an obligation to buy at the end.
I think it's the route we're going to go down if it is a perm, and then if he becomes good, you've got a £20 million player. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, it's what we need. I mean, if it brings Gus in the middle, anybody.
I agree. I think Gus in the middle is frightening for us and for the champion, particularly a fit Gus.
I think as well, Campbell far enough up front, because I do think Campbell has a bit more to do than he'd like. I'd like him further up so that he can be the natural striker, because he's the most.
Is that in a one, Susan, that you'd like him up top on his own, or would you like to see him with a partner?
Well, either one, a one or a two, but I do think that because everybody's been sort of playing slightly out of position, I think sometimes Tyrese has a bit too much to do. And when you look at how natural he is, he's such a natural striker. He's a predator, isn't he? He is, and he needs to be far enough up to the goal for us to see the best of him, I think. Good
point. Tony, I'm going to ask you this one, mate, and then I'm going to move into some comments and just see where they want to steer the conversation as well. But so Louis Barry linked with £3.5 million move to Hull, wasn't it? And then it looks like United might be swooping in there to get a bit of a sniff of that. Hopefully, we don't. That's not confirmed. Spoiler alert: it's going to be my 10-minute transfer tomorrow. By the time everybody else sees this, you'll have already seen it, hopefully. But so Louis Barry on the radar. £3.5 million would be an absolute snip. I don't care if it's a 50% sell on, because it would have to have done well and we would still make money on the deal. So right now, for what we need, I think as a 22-year-old, it's a great signing. There's also been rumours about Ash Phillips coming in from Tottenham, a former Blackburn defender who were out on loan at Plymouth and then Stoke. Plymouth and Stoke had poor seasons when he were there, but apparently he's done okay whilst involved in poor sides. It would be a big step up for him as a young player, young centre-half. He's got a good frame. The thing I like about this one is it's a permanent deal. So it's not a loan that we would expect him to come in, we improve him, and then he goes back to Tottenham worth a lot more. Because I'm not sure, in all honesty, he'd be ready for the top end of the Championship yet. But if we sign him for the long term, then I'm happy with it. What are your thoughts on signing younger than we're used to doing, spending a bit of money on these high potential prospects, but maybe not seeing immediate returns? Is that a risk in itself, do we think?
As long as he's going to get time. As long as the manager's going to get time, he can sign these young players, bring them on slowly. But if we're going to want them to come in and,
hit ground running,
go straight off, and it's, if everyone's expecting that, they're still kids in a sense. They've still not got first team experience.
Yeah.
And if it's not working, fans are getting on the back.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
Go. So I think we need some sort of experience somewhere.
I agree.
I think we need to sign some sort of 32-year-old, something like that, to come in and say, right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play, and solid it out. Because he's not a young manager as he is, isn't he? He's not.
He is, he is, and it's interesting because usually
players with no experience, manager with no experience, it could be a disaster, or it could be a masterstroke. And this time next year we're going,
wow,
wow. Now we've got players who are 21, 22, 20, coming into the prime, and we're about to step foot into the Premier League.
It's fascinating to me because we haven't gone down this route before as a club, and I don't just mean in the whole. It's whole completely different to the way we're doing things. But if we are to sign, say just these two young players initially, these are the type of signings, and I mean probably a level up if I'm honest, but these are the type of signings you usually get on loan from the Premier League. So you get like Morgan Gibbs-White has come on before. He's the example we always go to, but McAtee and Tommy Doyle, you get the younger, high potential players from the Premier League on loan, and then you would bring in as permanents your players like, I don't know, Ali McCann that we've been linked with recently, and other players like this to sort of subsidise the squad a little bit with a bit of experience, like you're talking about, Tone. So this way around, it makes me think, well, if we're buying young, like as in spending money on these young players to grow with us over a longer period of time, which is great, what are we going to be bringing in on loan? Because we can't be bringing in 5 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds, because then you've just got a team full of kids.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be no good.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Got to bring some experience. Some experience has got to join the team somewhere.
I think Rob Holding's available.
Yeah.
The Housery, bringing him back.
He still likes Salt Blades posts, on Instagram.
He's class. I would have Rob Holding back in an heartbeat.
He is. I mean, them games he played, I don't know.
I know.
I cannot see why he sat on bench. I mean, I remember I'm going back to Wembley again, but I'm sat there going, that's 10 men. Oh, and I was walking off. Why did you made a sub?
Yeah,
you're thinking,
I know.
We got another defender. He's crunching him before he's taking that shot.
See, this is what happens, Tone, when you leave it this long to come on. You don't get to vent, do you? Mark did this. Mark did this 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
So, it's about getting it out of your system, innit? It's about getting it out of your system.
Robin, I've got no football and not to take it out.
I think we just wanted to.
Best thing about it,
that we could sell him for $5 million.
Go on, Mark.
I was just going to say, best thing about it, what Tony touched on Anel being injured. I didn't even know, because first goal went in, and I went down into concourse, and I just couldn't bring myself to go back up, because I just thought, I know what's coming here. That's the God's honest truth. That's the honest truth. I've seen script 10 times in my life. I know. It just happens. It's United way, innit? Do you know what I mean? But this bloke.
I'm starting to think I'm a Wembley jinx. I've been to England games. I've seen United games. I've been to just random games where I want just one team to win, and a bit of a mutual, but and they've lost. Only team I've ever seen win is Sheffield Eagles.
Wrong sport.
No matter when it's at Wembley, it's always a different. I'm always walking back down Wembley way with face on.
I mean, worst thing about that day for me, and Jimmy will know about this because I've spoke to him about it previous. My son was 4 that day. He was 4-year-old, and I hung off for ages, and I kept saying, I'm not going, I'm not bothering.
To Wembley,
and then,
man.
I just thought, there's no way, because I thought, I'm thinking like this, if I don't go, we're going to do it, and it's going to kill me. And Mrs. said to me, if you're at home and you do it, we're going to fall out. So get you sent off. So I did, and then that didn't work either.
It's your fault.
Yeah. So it don't matter what you do. It's just Sheffield United for you. Expect the worst, and after that's a positive, isn't it?
Very true, mate. Very true.
Going back to Rob Holding, though, I used to calm down. I mean, I know we didn't see him that much, but as soon as he came on, I calmed right down.
I agree.
And I thought, we're in good hands here, but sadly, he didn't get much of a chance. I hope it wasn't because of favouritism, because that was such a waste of him. You understand without me saying it, that Chris Wilder did have his favourites and wouldn't put him in for that reason. But I could see Rob Holding being a very, very steady hand for youngsters. Because if they can't actually turn on a performance every game, then somebody like him would be absolutely perfect. Not somebody like the man.
He's a leader, isn't he, Susan? He's a leader, as Rob Holding.
Yeah,
he sort of leads by example, carries himself really well, over 100
calm, confident. Yeah.
Like an outfield Michael Cooper.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing phases him.
Praise of the highest order.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. And he's fit.
Dearie me. Well, maybe
On
so.
the shelf.
Charlie starts us off tonight saying, "Hi, Jimmy. So nice to see a lot of new faces tonight getting involved, and especially Susan. You'll all be great tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that." David says, "Go on, Susan. You've got this." She owes you a pasty, David, I believe. Something like that. Ian and Russ telling me my sound's dodgy. Thank you for that. Needed to know, so I appreciate you letting me know. Lewis says, "Evening all. Nice to see some more new faces. Scenario for everyone. Bro. Oh, dearie me. I think he's gone again. Evening all. Nice to see some new faces. So, scenario for everyone. Brooks and Barry, or keep Gus. Ooh. Who wants to go first? We'll go Jack first.
Keep Gus.
Do you want to? If you could, he's going to let you sign Brooks and Barry, but you have to sell Gus. Are you taking it? No. Okay, Tony.
What Gus we getting? If you're going to get a Gus that can only do 70 minutes, I'd rather have the other two.
If
you get a Gus firing all cylinders,
it's an either or. It's an either or. You are sellers.
Personally, I don't want Brooks back. They never go back. I know it's going to be controversial, but Dossie don't last 5 years. I mean, I know he's come back from
anything we've got on right.
He went to Southampton and did a job.
Marc Meldrew's gonna.
Is he bringing anything? Is he better than what we've already got?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the right wing, I would argue absolutely he is, because his only competition at the moment in the squad is Andre Brooks. Or you could also argue he's not a natural right winger.
Could we get better? Could we get better than Brooks?
Well, that's a different question. But
I think
we're holding back, and we're holding. Is this? Are we? Like you said this morning, are we going to step above? Well, is Brooks just a leveler, like a Dunn would have been?
I think he's a very good championship player. I would probably prefer Ben Doak, if I'm completely honest. But Ben Doak would likely be a loan, and Brooks, you could maybe, from what conversations were around West Brom, you could maybe get on a permanent. So I don't know is the honest answer, but it's a good point, Tom. Mark, you were desperate to jump in, even though we're going clockwise. You were desperate to jump in there.
Yeah, I just
Poor
think
old
with
Dave,
Brooks,
can't get a word in here. See you.
Brooks is just. I mean, he was good when he left us, and he's had his own health issues, but he is. I think he'd be one of the best players in the division if he came to us. And good thing I think about him is you could play him on right, you could play him on left. I think you could play him as an 8. So I've got visions of him playing Arblaster, Gus, and Brooks as a 3. Like, just have a think about that.
Well, I listened to the Hull fan the other day, and apparently he likes to play a 4-3-3. That's his preferred formation.
I don't like that word versatile, but I think Brooks could play in various different positions for us, which it would come in handy at certain points in the season. But he'd be a definite. He would be. People talk about leveling up. He'd be 2 levels up.
So go on then, Mark. Are you selling Gus to fund Barry and Brooks?
No.
Okay. Susan, would you sell Gus Amer to get Louis Barry and David Brooks back?
So can I have Gus for 70 minutes a match and Brooks?
No, you can't. No, that's cheating. So I mean, go on. I'll let you answer, Susan. But I think
I really rate Brooks. I mean, I think he should be given his wages just for that nutmeg against Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can sell Gus, can we? It's realistically. I mean, I just think he's such a superstar. And if Sellers does manage to get him really super fit, and going for longer each match, because I mean, he's not old, is he, Gus? What is he?
No. 27, I think.
27. He's still got his massive career, hasn't he? Yeah. So the answer is no. Keep Gus.
Keep Gus. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's 28. He's 28. I've just had a little check, but
only just.
He's in his only just. All right, Jack. All right. Yeah, you're right. Don't worry. Mark, I'll let you come back in a minute. Dave's been waiting very patiently here. Very patiently, mate. I want to know: would you sell Gus Amer? Are you going to give us a clean sweep of nose for selling the game?
It's a definite no for me. I mean, Brooks is amazing. He'd be unreal, but a Gus coming into the middle where he actually should play, not on his left wing,
which I think might happen anyway. Whether we get Barry, Brooks, or anyone, I think we will get wingers in, and I think Gus will come back into the middle.
I mean, he was so good last year out there, but I think you could probably argue, I don't know, but you could probably say, did he get injured because he were out there doing more high runs? He's not going to be doing
high
as much
intensity sprints. I think Dave the Nose called it the other day. Yeah.
So he's
man mountain.
His amazing free kick against Coventry. He could shoot in a game from that position, but he can't do it on left. He's going to cut in all the time, and that's what we're doing. We lost a massive threat, especially when Ollie went as well. I couldn't believe he didn't. For me, I'd have chucked him straight back into the middle when that happened.
He's so good, though, that he makes that position work. It's not because he's a good left forward. It's because he's such a good footballer. He made that position work. Whereas we could have maybe got an extra 5 or 10% out of him in middle. And he would have, get a winger in then. And I know we had Ben Burton Diaz, who was naturally a left forward. And then we moved him over to right to accommodate Gus. The balance was not right all season for me, and I know it's something me and Clarkie have talked about an awful lot as well. But Mark, go on, pal. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say a big thing I think with Gus is if you look at our team that played when he played last season, and we've got good players in that team as we all know. But I think Gus is a bit of a standalone in the sense of, other than him, who else in that 11 that would start for us would you class as a match winner? Like, who can do some out of nothing. And I think we might go down avenue of signing 1 or 2 more, not like Gus, if you like, but
like Mavericks.
Who are, for example, like we've touched on, David Brooks, probably a Barrett, like some of his finishers in League One.
Callum Aware's got potential to be a player like that. I think he can.
But we've not seen it fully. I've not seen it fully from him. And his game probably had to adapt for best at team last year. But I do think
got to a game changer into it, other than Gus.
But I do think we will possibly sign 1 or 2 that might take that bit of pressure off Gus to think to himself, well, I've got to do it on my own.
Yeah.
If there's somebody else, and we don't know. It's a bit of an unknown. Like I think Clarkie touched on it last week. We can all talk about signings and this, that, other. We haven't got a clue. From what I gather, from some of the things I've read, he keeps things quite close to his chest, does Sellers.
Yeah.
And don't give much away. So we'll just have to see. But it's exciting in that sense.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. I love it, mate. And don't get me wrong, it's frustrating at times not to hear what the club's doing. And obviously I'm picking my times to ask the questions and stuff because I don't want to keep badgering the people that I talk to, but it is frustrating not knowing what direction we're going to be going in. But I think by the same token, it's quite exciting not knowing as well. And the anticipation is like, who is it going to be? And Man Mountain tomorrow, it is frustrating. There's different emotions that come with it, pal. But I think Man Mountain's going to frame it a different way tomorrow. And that's genuinely how he feels, that we're not linked with Kessler Aiden and Jimmy Dunn and Harry Darling for a reason, because we want a lot better. And that is his genuine belief. So I think it's going to be really, I can't wait for him to come on tomorrow.
We don't know about these owners either, do we? That's the other thing. It's all right.
The back about manager. 10 million, didn't they? In January.
That's what I mean. And not to go on that too much with like Cannon and stuff, but I do actually think at time we needed another striker. And the striker that we brought in was probably the best in the division at that time. And we signed him.
I don't think Wilder played him right.
I agree.
But his best game was Burnley away.
Yeah.
And he tore him in that first half. And I just never thought we played him right. It needed to be the 2.
I'm excited for Tom Cannon next season. I'm excited for him next year. I think he will. There'll be less pressure on him. There'll be less expectation, and I think Sayers will want to get the best out of him in terms of playing to his strengths as much as anything else. And he's one that don't sleep on him next season, because I think we'll see a lot better from him next year.
We're so fast as well as a fan base, I think, to just jump down people's necks. Like when manager got announced, like I think you were on a live, Jim, at time, and it happened then. And like, there's no we can do. It's out of our control. You've just got to run with it. And we can all have our thoughts on Wilder, and I'd have kept him, but end of the day, he's not our manager now. That's it. it's like having a manager at work and that manager leaves, and yeah, you might have got on with that manager, but you've got a new manager, you've got to make new relationships and new memories, haven't you, and stuff like that. So
the difference
Absolutely,
is
mate.
Chris Wells is still a fan of Sheffield no matter what. So
he'll
Absolutely.
be in concourse
doesn't
drinking
change.
Estrella. Don't worry about that.
Exactly.
He will, undoubtedly. Toddy says, evening, lads. Susan lets me know that I didn't send her the link earlier. My apologies. Evening, lads, says James. Brett says, evening, guys. Great to see all the new faces. Go on, Susan. Finally, great to finally see you. Up the positive blades. Well said, mate. Dave Morwood says, nice one, Jimmy. I'm going to now enjoy the show, everyone, and goodbye. I will take it on the chin. No problem, pal. Interested to know, says Lewis, how the panel's view on how much slack Ruben gets if we don't start the season. What two great questions from Lewis. Who wants to start? Dave, do you want to start us off, pal? How much patience do we have to? Well, he phrased it better than me, to be fair. How much slack will Ruben get if we don't start the season well? In terms of what you think will happen and what you think should happen, I suppose.
I think it depends how much you spend. Depends what he brings in.
That's true.
Yeah. If they back him big, if we get, like Mountain saying, if we get level up players and he starts off, lost first 3 up, stuff like that, I think you're under pressure. They want to get up. They want to do it the right way by investing in youth and making money that way, which is a correct model to do. But you're always under pressure, aren't you? I hope he gets time, but I think they expect to get up. I don't think Chris was sacked because of that, but yeah, I think there's gonna be messing around kind of thing.
It's so unpredictable, isn't it? Because I mean, Jack, Tony touched on it as well. If we're going to go down the route of this purchasing young players, it is a long-term plan for the club. Clearly, it's a long-term strategy. It's bringing the players along with us. Hopefully, you see the benefits immediately. Obviously, is the wish, but certainly in the next 1, 2, 3 years, you will see somebody like Ash Phillips become one of the best defenders in the league. And his ceiling is huge, and he might make the national team, all these sort of things. But with that being a long-term strategy for the club, will they afford, or do you think, because we don't know, do you think they will afford Sayers time to, like, what if we finish third again and we don't make it up through playoffs? I think they'll stick with him, to be honest, unless it's a disastrous sort of 9th, 10th finish. I think they will stick with Sayers because he's their man. And they've picked him. They've sacked Wilder to hire him. That's what's happened here. It's not a case of Wilder wasn't good enough. It's a case of we think Sayers can do better than Wilder because they wouldn't have sacked Wilder otherwise. So, do you think he gets time? Do you think that has to go hand in hand with the strategy that appears to be implemented here?
Well, I think they'd look a bit silly if they didn't give him time, wouldn't they? But I think we've almost got like two sort of shopping lists going on here at once. You've got a shopping list for players that are probably going to get dropped into the academy and developed that way. And then there'll be some that are obviously first teamers and maybe even a little bit in between. But one thing that Sheffield United have got is a very, very good academy. We always have done. So, and then you put Sayers in there as well, who's well known for developing youth players. And he's a very intelligent man as well, with all his accreditations that he's got throughout his travels and his degree in sports physiology and stuff. Ultimately, we could have a much fitter team and overall developing all these youth players that are coming in. I think they'd be stupid if they got rid of him if he came third, for example. I think they're going to stick with him regardless, because then the next year you've got those youth players that have been developed, even more developed from another season.
How patient, Susan, do you think the fan base will be with him? Do you think we, as a fan base collectively, we're starting to come round to him as a different approach? But do you think he has to start well? Otherwise, it's obviously that's the aim for everybody. But do you think if he maybe gets, I don't know, 2 wins, 2 draws, or 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses, people will start to be getting impatient with him early doors?
I think the problem with our fan base is like the problem with most fan bases, and that is that they've got too much power. I think they've got too much of a say, and it can sway. It sways people's careers all the time, doesn't it? All the way through the leagues, and the owners will have reassured him about what their aims are, and I'm sure they'll have come to a sort of a like-minded, opinion. And provided they give him what they've promised him, and we don't have to wait too long. Because I mean, last season was such a disappointment, and obviously being relegated the season before, everybody wanted us to do really, really well. But we might just have to wait that little bit longer for it all to come together.
Yeah, I agree. I think patience is going to be tested this year, and I hope that the fans all stick together.
I do.
Stick behind the manager. I'm sure they will. Gaz says, evening all, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Centre half and out wide is where, in my opinion, we need to strengthen. Who do people think will be their number one realistic target in those positions? We're against the clock a little bit, so I'm going to go to the two who haven't answered most recently. So, Tony, I'll go to you first, mate. Do you have an ideal target for either a centre-back or somebody out wide? And this is obviously a realistic target for us, but it doesn't mean that we'll definitely get him. Don't worry. But I'm not, because it's a different kettle of fish now, isn't it? So
no, I don't, because we don't know what Sayers wants. What he wants at the moment.
But if you could target a centre back or a winger to come in, have you got anybody in mind that jumps out at you? I mean, for me, somebody like Joe Worrell would be ideal. Rob Holding, ideal. Those sort of players, like Susan said, lingers.
Holding would be, I think that would be perfect. I mean, you never know. Adele might stay who gets somebody decent next to him.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know what contracts Adele's whether he's been offered one at all yet.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he has been offered a contract, but he's not signed anything yet. So
why is it? Has he come out and said why he's not signing it? If he's not signing it, why is he still here?
Because he will likely want to see out his contract and move and get a big bonus in his pocket.
But surely, board would come out and go, we can sell him on.
We could now, and that'll be a choice for. That's why I think he'll leave. To be honest, Tone. Yeah. But I think we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think he will be in the shop window for us. We'll be telling people he's available if they want to pay us.
He looks happy enough. I saw a video the other day. He looks happy enough being.
He does.
He got a bag in his hand and he got a smile on his face. All players look like they're happy to be there.
So did Illiman, to be fair, is what I'd say to that. So it's
subject that one, isn't
it? There will
looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, they can.
Well, yeah. I mean, they don't too happy 2 hours later, did they, when they were all in that bag and sweat was dripping off their face?
Exactly right. I wouldn't have looked happy either. Marco, any players that jump off the page to you in your head that you've seen that you think, yes, I'll have him? I know we've mentioned you're not too sure on Barry just because of injury history. Brooksy, you like. Anybody that jumps off page to you for saying either a centre half or a winger?
If we kept to Nell, I think somebody that will complement him quite well is Callum Doyle, who were at Norwich.
Nice
to play left side.
Yeah.
If we got rid of Nell, I quite like Bobby Thomas.
Yes, agreed.
Coventry, and I also like Van Iwick, who plays right back. Although he's a little bit like Sariki.
Yeah, I don't. Not that I don't rate him. That's harsh, but it wouldn't be for me. But I think they're too similar, him and Sariki. And I don't think if he were called Van Smith, I don't think anybody would be really talking about him as much. So I think it's because he's a foreign name that sounds exotic, and I think it's the old. If Sam Allardyce were called Sam Allardyce Senior, then he might have been a top Premier League manager. Maybe there's not much to that, but
I'd say winger probably. I'm a bit like you, Jim. I'd say Ben Dow could be a good option, but I think he'll go a bit higher. I do. I think Everton were linked to him, weren't they? Although it's rival team for Liverpool.
I think he could get a lower end Prem loan or something. That might be good for Liverpool to get his value up and then sell him for some really big money. So, but the only thing that works in favour there is he's also had a bad injury at Middlesbrough. So maybe they won't want to take a chance in Premier League on him, and we are one of the top championship clubs that might be in for him if he becomes available on loan. So you can hope, can't you, I suppose?
It's a tough market. It's a tough market wherever you're looking in it, to be fair.
It is, mate. It is. Matt says, hey, Ramblers, hope we're all good. Hopefully we'll start to see some action end of this week. Have you heard anyone linked to us or close to sign? Anybody heard any links? Anybody that wants to share any links? No?
You have.
Oh, Jimmy, you said you had earlier.
Don't listen to me, I talk rubbish. Lee says, if we sign Barry, it seems that we'll be playing a derivative of the 4-3-3, similar to last year. This means we'll be playing again with a single striker. Would the Ramblers prefer 2 or 1 up top? Interesting. Like I say, a 4-3-1-2. Like say a 4-3-1-2. We have the players for that now. So the 4-3-1-2 would be brilliant, but very narrow. The 4-3-3 is much wider, but then he's 1 up top. We'll quickly go around the room, and I'm going to go clockwise, Marc Meldrew, so don't be jumping in here. Statman Jack. Would you like 1 up top with 2 wide men, or would you like a bit narrower with 2 up top?
It depends on the strikers.
Oh, dear.
That's what it depends on. Because you wouldn't put Kiefer Moore as a 1 on his own, would you? But you don't mind sticking him in it too.
Wouldn't you though?
No.
I
don't think he'd get there. I don't think he'll get there in time for cross front winger. I think it'd be too late. That's the problem.
But why isn't he, like Susan says with Ty Campbell, why isn't he the last man? Why isn't he the one that's in the box, ready to take the cross? That's surely what a 6'4" striker is built around historically. But okay, so duo dependent, I suppose. But which would be your preference if you had to start?
Well, based on what Sayers says, I think it's going to be wingers. So I'm going to say a single striker.
Okay. Tone, what would you prefer, mate?
I've always liked 2 up top. A big man and a little man. You know, someone who can win and head that old ball up.
Kevin Phillips, Niall Quinn.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Exactly. Dean and Ghana. It works, didn't it?
Dean and Ghana.
There you go. Showing me age now.
Is that what your dad told you? Dean and Ghana.
I'd like to think so. I met Brian Dean a couple of years back and I was starstruck.
Yeah, he's top man.
Dave? 2 up top.
Well, if he goes 1 up front, at least we'll have wingers to cross ball for Kiefer because he didn't get any service last year because there were no natural wingers to cross it to him. So I think he was so hard done by what happened to at Wembley were horrendous, but I thought he played so well that game. But
I agree.
It depends. I mean, we can kind of suit both ways, but if he brings in wingers, he'll probably play 1 up front.
Is there a way that we
could argue and say that we'd suit an arrow if we're bringing Gus in and being really creative in middle? I can't say it wouldn't suit us. He can. I don't know what he's going to do. We don't know what he's going to do. Do we?
No, we don't. We've no idea. Is there an argument to say we can play a 4-4-2 really, and sort of? I know Gus likes to sort of be a bit of a roaming midfielder wherever he's playing. So if he's in an 8, then it probably leaves Ollie Arblaster, I would say. Or
I think he might switch it. You know, I think you might see him really being creative with it and switching it up because he's like Jack said before. He's always rescued teams from disaster. This one he can be creative. He's got a squad to do whatever he wants and tinker. And if he's got wingers, and he might want to play a different way. He can swap it up. If he's got 2 strikers, he's going to chip one on, take him. He can do whatever he wants. I think that's the beauty of it. We're really in a good position to be quite creative for that. Really.
Yeah, agreed. Susan, would you prefer 1 striker or 2 up top together?
Yeah, I think if we've got 2 really good wingers that can really, belt it up there and get it in quick, then I think 1 up front would be all right. But do you remember when we got an L marauding up and down that wing?
Oh, God. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I mean, if we get really good defence in and we keep an L, we can actually get an L doing a job on that
absolutely
right wing, isn't it?
Yeah,
but I think it's got to be about the wingers serving the strikers, hasn't it?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Marco,
1 or 2 up top?
2 for me.
2 for you, even if it means narrow.
Yeah, don't mind it because I think what Sellers will do. I think he'll make us more. I don't mean defensively strong, but he'll make us stronger at back. From what I've read about when he was at Hull, that's the first thing he did, and they were only just behind us in terms of how good defensively they were. Right. They were 4th division behind us and Leeds and Burnley.
Yeah, it saved him from relegation.
And I think he'll look at that and think, well, if I can get these a bit tighter at back, I think he can he can experiment with what he's got in front of him. But I do think we'll see a lot more square pegs in square holes. this time.
We got 2 teams of 11, hadn't we? Do you remember when everybody were fit and he'd got all these Chris Wilder got all these choices, and this is going to sound disrespectful, but I don't think he knew what to choose. I think he'd got that many good fit players, you know, and maybe it was the formation he were working with.
It never got to the point where we could all name the team, or very rarely did it get to the point where we could name the same team week after week.
Exactly, because
I didn't think he knew his best team.
I agree.
By the end of the season, he still didn't know his best team.
No, he didn't, and I think spoilt for choice probably comes into mind.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not absolutely fixed on what style and formation you want to play, then who do you choose?
I think Callum O'Hare is a prime example who got better and better as the season went on.
Oh, God, I love him.
Just as he came into peak form, he got dropped because he didn't fit the formation. And you think, I get it. If you want to play a certain formation, I get it. But it's frustrating to see who was your in-form player then sitting on the bench. And yes, he can come in and make an impact. But
do you think Chris Wilder was technically savvy enough to understand all that? Again, no disrespect, but you know, these young managers who have studied it in depth, I just wonder whether it takes a completely different skill set to get that.
Possibly. I think. I don't like to call him, as you know, but we'll always be on it.
I'm not calling him. No, you know, it's high stakes. It's high stakes stuff. This, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and has the game moved on slightly from what he knows and what he's used to. And somebody like a Ruben says, turning up to Bramall Lane with a Hull side that were bottom of the league and beating us 3-0. It's not a fluke, is it? I mean, I know you get one-off games, but he's done his homework. He knows where to hit us, and he's tactically outdone us. So,
and to be honest, it's our back line, isn't it, that needs sorting. Our, you know, and obviously he's done it over and over again, hasn't he?
As much as I don't think we had a plan going forward, I think we had the quality to beat most teams going forward anyway. So even if we can shore it up at the back, can you imagine what those attacking players of that quality are going to be like with a plan? It would just I'm excited for where we can go.
I am really excited.
I think one sorry, Jim.
Go on, Marco.
I think one player who would have sort of excelled in this new sort of style of play I were thinking about going would have probably been Raksaki. I think he would have been hard done to at times. He divides opinion, but I think if you look at his output compared to actual minutes that he played, his output weren't that bad.
His output would be.
I think he was one of them players where I think he needed that run of games consistently, bit of a confidence player to get best out of him. I think you'd watch him next year and he'll go to a side and play 35, 40 games and probably get a few more than he got for us. Because I think he's a good player, but it just didn't work out for him at United. He didn't even make bench at Wembley, did he? To be fair,
no. After he'd been told they were going to,
which were odd, isn't it? But
so Peake says, "Yes, Big T, loving the Blades mug. You're all doing just fine. Thank you, Peake." Would Holding want to come back with the way we treated him? Says Tom. I think he would now. There's been a change of manager, and to be honest, he spoke really well about Chris Wilder on Instagram when Chris left. He thanked him publicly. So we are speculating there that he was unhappy at Sheffield United, but it's a clean slate for everybody now, isn't it? Coming in or players that are already there. It's a completely fresh coat of paint. So Peake says, personally, I don't want any players with a history of injuries. We've had a belly full of good players that spend more time out than in. That's fair. Brett says, I wouldn't sell Gus for all the kebabs in Turkey. It's up the ramble. And Daz says, there's a few more comments coming since that, but Daz says, while I'm excited about the names being mentioned coming in, I'm even more excited about the players leaving. £30 million man and Captain Fantastic have to go. I'm not sure we've got time to get into that one, Daz. Yes, caught you all in time. Maury, you've caught us like with 10 minutes to go, pal. And now we're over time. Peake says, sadly, I think if Ruben doesn't start well, he'll be under immense pressure from some of the fans, mainly because Wilder did so well. If we finished 10th last season, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. Maury says, I'd take Kevin Phillips and Niall Quinn. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know about nowadays, pal, to be fair. Danny says, evening all, I can see us going 3-4-3. I'd love to see us press high and aggressive, but still be strong in defence. Wilder didn't know his best 11, says Maury. Callum O'Hare was the fittest player in our squad. He never stopped running. Yeah, that's true. He's got a right engine on him as Callum O'Hare, to be fair. Burrows and Femi out wide. Defended as a 5, but let Burrows and Femi get forward and put the ball in the box, up the blades, up the ramble. I would still make a point for a 3-5-2. That would negate any exciting wingers that we're talking about, to be fair. But I think we have got the base of a really good 3-5-2 squad, personally. Peck was seen at Shirecliffe yesterday, says Toddy, just putting those rumours to bed that he was nowhere to be seen because he wasn't seen on the social media vids, which is good to hear, Toddy, because I didn't see him in any of them either, and people have been asking about it. Ladies and gents, or lady and gents, should I say, we are over time, but I want to thank you all for joining us. Dave and Susan, on your first proper stream, really, really strong. Thank you both for coming on. Has anybody got anything else they want to cover while we're all together? Get that message out there. I'll go round room. Jack, any final bits you want to say, pal?
Yeah, I was just sort of relaying back to what Mark said earlier about Ruben keeping cards close to his chest. Well, makes a fair point there, because you don't want all our rivals to see all our cards laid out on the table. So just because they're not getting linked with all the same people as everyone else and you're not seeing much, that's not a bad thing, because you don't want everyone else seeing what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let them sign the rubbish and we'll come and collect all the good stuff at the end.
It's like Tony said, and that goes nicely into me speaking to Tony about the same thing, but it is frustrating. The other side to that is it's frustrating for the fans. We don't expect to be kept informed, but while you're just sitting waiting for any little bit of information, it is frustrating. But Jack, you're right. I'd rather that than we show our hand and we get beaten to a player that we really want because we've uncovered somebody in. It don't have to be Bulgaria. It could be Italy or anywhere, somewhere in France that we've been looking and we've been working really hard on getting this player, and then Birmingham suddenly find out and they're swooping in or whatever it might be.
You got to remember they're at Girona next week, so they've got the pre-season camp coming up anyway. So
very true, mate. Very true. Big T, any final points you want to make, pal?
No. Like I said, let's just get this pre-season over when you get season started. I'm really, like I said at the beginning, I'm so looking forward to it. I think this could be a really big term for Sheffield United. But there's one thing I want to bring up, and you brought up this morning: haircut or no haircut.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very important.
It is, mate. What are you
saying,
mate?
Some comments early in question time. Are you going to have an haircut before your holiday?
What do you reckon, then, mate? You've got to tell me.
I can't judge people's haircuts anymore.
For those that didn't see it, I'm debating with myself whether to keep it. I go on holiday in 2 weeks, and it definitely needs doing. But I think I'm going to leave it. Not just because I'm a tight Yorkshireman, but I think I'm going to leave it because I prefer it when there's a fair bit to feel like it's a proper holiday cut when he's taking a load off. So I think that's where I'm going to go with it, unless anybody persuades me otherwise. Dave, any final comments, pal? Thank you for coming on your first stream, mate. Really enjoyed it.
That's all right. I've loved it. Yeah, I just think patience is needed. I think Chris's targets were ripped up obviously when he went, and this is the exciting bit. If we could have signed 3 this week, and great, we got a sign him, but like you go to Chan tomorrow with Mountain. I agree. I think we're possibly bringing in youth and adding quality around it, and that sounds amazing to me. So we're just going to be a bit patient now.
Sounds really good, really good. Thank you, mate. Susan, any final thoughts for our Ramblers?
Just a quick one. I hope that we can manage to get the atmosphere going because we did, didn't we, towards the end of last season? Quite a lot of work was done, wasn't it? And I hope we can actually get that going again, because that makes a massive difference, doesn't it? It does. I've just noticed your badge, by the way. Absolutely brilliant addition to the outfit. Representing. Where's everybody else's like?
Mine's on my denim jacket.
Yeah, all right. You're right, Susan. Lee Winter put an awful lot of work into getting the atmosphere up. Did a brilliant job.
Yeah. And I know a lot of the Travelling Blades really took it up, didn't they? And really ran with it. Yeah, so congratulations to them. What an absolute wonderful set of Travelling Blades we've got.
Absolutely right. Well said. Well said. It don't get. We try and always give them their flowers, but it don't get said enough, and it can't get said enough because every time we're on TV, we're out singing. It appears, and I know we're biased, but it appears we're out singing home support. It's so good, so good. Love it. And thank you, Susan, for coming on. It's been great having you on tonight.
No, I've loved it. Thank you.
No problem. Let's hope it's not Dave and Susan's last one. Somebody who won't be that good if it was the last one. Marco, how's it on? I'm only kidding, pal. You know I'm joking. Any final thoughts to finish off?
I expect no less from you, to be fair. So, no.
That hair, by the way.
I've just had mine done. Actually tonight.
I can tell. Ears lowered. Yeah.
It makes my forehead look bigger though. So what can they do? No. Just looking forward to it. Like you've already said, Susan and Dave, well done on coming on. You both speak a lot of sense. So get yourselves back on. And yeah, just end the day. I was thinking this other day, and just if you've got any doubts about this season, just have a look at what's happening across City. Because it could be a whole lot worse. That is all I'm going to say.
Oh my
Very
God,
well
yeah.
said.
Very well said.
Yeah, absolutely. Chance here, sort you saying. I've
What a
no.
bloke.
Can I just mention what Barry Bannon's actually said, that he won't take a penny until the rest of the staff get paid. I think.
Has he said that?
Yeah, you've got to give him his dues. Yeah, he said he will not take a penny of his wages until the rest of the staff get paid.
Well, that's very commendable.
Palmer did as well, didn't he? Palmer said that.
Very commendable, and I think they should be highlighted for that. To be honest, I've no love lost for them as a team, but as a club and the people that are working behind the scenes, people that a lot of us will know, I'm sure, and will know people that know. It's absolutely outrageous. Pay your people. You're an absolute disgrace. Right, and on that note, we'll focus on the red half of the city, the successful side of the city, on the pitch and off. So we're going to finish by saying, come on, you red and white wizards.
On the way!